Corn podcast.
Welcome back to another episode of the Can of Corn podcast. I'm Parker Hageman. With me, as always, on the other side of the state border is Rob Allison down in Iowa, God's country, land of milk and honey. How are you today?
I'm doing really well. How are you?
Well, up in Minnesota, winter's hit. It is a tingly 14 degrees or whatever it is right now, and the only thing keeping me warm is the holiday thoughts and the holly jollies that we get. How's the Allison household doing in the holiday season?
Really good. We're fully decked out. Got the decorations around the house. Outside is pretty pimped up. Just trying to survive and trying to get to Christmas.
You didn't like Clark Griswold off the ladder or the roof of the house or anything like that, putting the reindeer up there?
Not this year. Has happened though. Has happened. Yeah.
Slick roofs. I get you, man. I get you. Well, we're through the 2023 season. We've ran all the showcases you could possibly run in Iowa, and we've recently released the most updated rankings from the class of 2024 through the class of 2027. Rob, let's touch on each one of these a little bit and kind of go through and give your unique flavor to every one of them. The 2024, starting with the oldest kids, the kids on the clock right now, their senior year.
Yeah, the Joey Oki is obviously cemented as our number one guy here in Iowa. His ability on the mound, his the time he's spent with Team USA. He's gonna probably have a chance to be a higher end draft pick if everything keeps moving forward the way it's supposed to. Committed to University of Iowa. He's obviously a premier guy in the state. Trevor Baumler, now that he's come back from being a little banged up the last year and a half, he started to make some good strides towards the end of the fall on the mound. A guy that you've seen, a guy that I really like that pushed up into the middle of the top 10 was Carter Jeffrey from Ames. Just big physical catcher, tons of arm strength. He'll run it mid 80s from behind the dish. The arm strength is there. He'll get on the mound. He'll get up to 92, 93. I think that's on the back end. I think that might be a little bit of a get out of jail free card because I think he has the hitting ability, throwing ability, catching ability. He should be able to stick behind the plate. Brett White has always been one of my favorite players. I just like how he goes about his business. Super competitive, runs through brick walls, and you just kind of work your way down the list. You know, this 24 class is probably one of the stronger ones, definitely in years past, just because I think we have a really good number, I guess, of guys that would fall into a category of draft prospect / suspects. You probably have anywhere from 8 to 10 guys in the state that will receive some type of interest from major league organizations as we keep gravitating towards the summer and the 2024 MLB draft. So it's exciting.
Now, the class still has some uncommitteds, right? I mean, there's some guys on there that should be probably looked at by some schools, right?
Yeah. Jake Goodman out of Western Dubuque is a really good two-way player. I think he still looks like he's about 12 years old from a development standpoint, just maturity wise. Like, I think he's going to continue to grow and do good things. And I mean, he's a really good player now. I mean, we have him, he's the 22nd, I believe, 22nd ranked player in the state. So we think very highly of him. He's still on the board. Sahi Jetty, right-handed pitcher out of Waukee Northwest. He's kind of in that same boat. He's really young for his grad class. He's still kind of filling out and developing and maturing. but he'll go mid 80s, 3, 4 pitches for strikes, long, loose, projectable. Big fan of him. Andrew Swanda still on the board. Caleb Even, Adrian Brodus, I really like at Johnston. Guy out of Davenport North that probably a ton of people have seen. Paxton Thompson, 6'5", 6'6". I've had him up as high as 87. Just a lot of elbows and long limbs coming at you. But I think he has a chance. And you can just keep kind of working down the list. Like, I think there's a lot of value to be had in this 2024 class, top to bottom.
All right, so we're going to move into the 2025s, which is the first class that just got out of their future game run this year. So you saw several of those players in your top rankings of them. Walk us through a little bit of the 2025s.
Yeah, new number one in the class, Tatum Gray, participated at the future games this year. I think he checks a lot of boxes for me. Long, athletic, developing physicality. He's already ready, wiry, strong. But I think he's going to continue to fill out. Can play multiple positions on the field really well. Has true switch hitting ability to where he can drive the ball from both sides of the plate. Um, has performed in games. I mean, he's a clear number one for me right now. I think there's still some settling to be had in this class. Um, Kind of this sophomore, junior year, this is when a lot of these upper Midwest kids kind of start making that next big jump, or that next big jump physically. And so I'm kind of anxious to see kind of where these guys end up at the end of the day. But Milo Kelly, our number 2 guy, really, really good player, committed to Iowa. Um, Dylan England, one of the best bats in the state. Has been a little hot and cold for me, honestly. I've seen him really good. I've seen him average at times, but it just seems like when the lights are on and he's facing really good competition, he's really shown a ton of high end offensive potential. Tatum Telfer, future games guy, committed to Arkansas State, left-handed pitcher. Tate Slagle out of Algona, committed to Iowa. Um, and then otherwise, we're wide open. Everyone is uncommitted. There's a ton of talent to be had. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of guys obviously going off the board as we move forward.
Yeah, big year for the 2025s. 2026s, what do you got on them?
Our number one in the 2026 class, Tucker Long. Super athletic kid. Was a standout as a freshman last year for Ottumwa High School. Spent some time this summer with Team USA. I believe their tournament this last summer was in the Dominican. Proved that he can compete with the best of the best, not just here in the U.S. but internationally. He'll run it in the low 90s. He's also very skilled as a position player. Yeah, I think his calling card, or he's going to make his money on the mound. But from a high school perspective, very, very intriguing as a two-way guy. Bryce Polly is a guy. He's our number 2 ranked. He's been on our radar quite a while. Kind of hit the radar initially just on arm strength. I believe last year at the preseason All-State, he ran it up 88, 89. But I think his strength is actually at him as a position player. He's athletic. The bats continue to develop. He'll have to continue to improve his running speed. But I think he's skilled enough defensively and offensively that he really has a chance at third base. Garrett Lute, committed to Iowa, our number 3 guy. Just super athletic, really toolsy, can do a lot of things. Had a great football season this fall with Underwood High School. He's a guy that a lot of people like. Brett Harris, our number 4 guy, committed to Ole Miss. Um, Brett's probably one of those guys that you're going to like him a lot more in a game than maybe a showcase atmosphere. He really performs at a really high level in games and leads that Western Dubuque team along with the Goodman kid. Um, so he's got a lot of ability. And then you just keep working down the list, like Gavin DeJesus, shortstop, Waukee, Jonathan Carrasco, shortstop, Ankeny Centennial. Um, this class is a little bit of tweeners, which I guess what I mean by that is you have some smaller guys with really good tools. You'd like to see them develop a little bit more physically. You have some bigger, stronger guys that do some really nice things or have a plus tool, but kind of gravitate towards maybe being a little one dimensional. So they need to round out their game a little bit. But this will be this is super interesting class because with the 26s, we're obviously really drilling down in on them. Ultimately, because as we move forward, we're going to have to start figuring out who's going to get invitations and who's going to participate with us at the PBR future games coming up in July.
Yeah, big year for the 26s. Obviously with the spring coming up, you got the preseason All-State, and you've got other IDs around the state that these kids can get into and show off what they can do if they've grown, and if they put on muscle, if they put on some miles per hour, like get out to one of those. So last class, and it's the freshest, the 2027s. Some of these kids were at the Junior Future Games. Walk us through a little bit of them.
Yeah, the so the 27s for us, our number 1 is Xavier Perez. I think there's little doubt in the state as regards to where he kind of stands in the scheme of things. Multi-dimensional, can jump on the mound, can jump behind the plate, can play various positions, moves all over the place. He just has a ton of ability. The Matt Meeker comes in at number 2. Ultra physical, participated at the Junior Future Games, left-handed hitter. What I like about Matt Meeker is he's actually shown me he has like real hitting ability. He's just not that oversized kid that I guess is bigger and stronger than his peers and is just going to swing really hard and try to hit the ball over the fence. Now, I think he has that ability, but at the same time, he actually shows approach. Like he tries to stay on the ball, he tries to work both sides of the field. He's looking just to make hard contact. So he's pretty well versed that way. The a guy I really like, Charlie Sarsfield. Um, really good tools, really athletic in the outfield. Already a sub-7 runner. I think when you look at younger guys, to some degree, the 60 is a little bit of an archaic measurement. We talk about when in baseball, are you running 180 feet in a straight line? But it is a indicator of athleticism, that combination of speed and endurance, and being able to pick them up and put them down for that distance. But most younger guys usually typically don't run great 60s. They're just not physically developed enough, or they lack the strength to run that distance at high speed. But already a sub-7 runner, mid 80s from the outfield, left-handed hitter, can move the ball around, hard contact, and probably the one guy I like in the class is Lincoln Norris. Like Lincoln Norris is a really good player, shortstop, Knoxville High School. Started for them as an 8th grader at the varsity level. Big performer for us at the Junior Future Games. Again, really athletic, is already having a standout basketball season as a freshman for Knoxville. I just think he can do a lot of things.
I think you coined the phrase, or maybe tweeted it out at some point during the fall. It was Matt Meeker doing Matt Meeker things, and having seen him in the junior future game, having seen him a bit in the fall league, I mean, you're spot on. I think I saw him drive the ball in the left center gap a few times, where it's like that's a great approach for a young kid at that age, and yeah, he's got a bright future. With that in mind, watching these games, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. I know you've been attending the spring leagues. You've seen the kids at all the showcases, high school games, futures games. I want you to think about everything that you saw over the 2023 calendar season and give me 3 names of guys that you saw in game that really impressed you.
Ooh, any grad class?
Any grad class.
Any grad class. Um, I had a chance. I went out and watched Joey Oki pitch this summer. Um, Obviously, he's a marquee guy. Everyone's heard of him. All the bells and whistles, but that was really, really impressive to see a high schooler do what he did. You know, he was early in the game, pretty much sat 95, 96. Breaking ball was 86, 88. Um, just high end velocity and power on the mound. But then he also shows the ability to throw strikes. Throw strikes with 3 pitches. And probably the separator for him was he was just, he looked like he was ready to tear people's throats out. Like he wasn't arrogant. He was just, he was an alpha male on the mound. They put the ball in his hand. It was his job to win. And he just took the bull by the horns and just competed his butt off. And the combination of those 3 things, I mean, you don't see it very, very often in high school at all. So that really impressed me. Um, I know you're putting me on the spot here. Holy cow. Um, I really like Reed Strohmeyer. Like, even though he's really good, like has good tools and is going to put up good numbers in a showcase, I thought he really impressed at the state games. Um, he's again very athletic, uh, tends to stand out amongst the herd of guys, not just physically, but how he plays the game. I talk with a lot of scouts about this. Like, anyone can look at the Excel spreadsheet, anyone can look at these numbers. You can look at the video, but of the hundreds of games we go out and watch, like the one thing we're looking for is who impacts the game. Um, do they impact the game, or are they just another guy out on the field in a uniform, in a lineup, standing out at a position that you could readily replace with another guy and it's not really going to change anything? How do they really impact the game? And I think Reed Strohmeyer is that type of guy. Um, he really changes up things when he's out on the field and doing what he can do. Um, Another guy, game wise, I really like Anthony Harrington from Midland High School here in Iowa. Um, all he does is hit. You know, I've seen him against good pitching, bad pitching, the full spectrum, regardless of the situation. He's just gritty in the box. He knows that the team is kind of leaning on him to create damage and get things going for him offensively. And it just doesn't seem like he ever misses. Like, he constantly is barreling balls and he plays hard and does what he needs to do. And so he's always been really impressive in games for me as well.
Well, hitting balls hard will always get you noticed, I think.
Yeah.
And
It
uh,
helps.
the the thing that we got to reiterate here is that the PBR Iowa's um, preseason All State is still open. If you haven't requested your invite, do so now. If you haven't checked your email, you should probably check that as well, because there could be an invitation accepted sitting in your inbox. Is that correct?
That would be a fair statement. Yes.
That's a fair statement. One more opportunity to put you on the spot here, Rob,
Uh-oh.
because I like holiday movies. Who doesn't like holiday movies, right? I mean,
I
this
do.
is yeah. I heard it's the Allison family tradition to watch at least one holiday movie every night before Christmas. Is that correct?
That is what we try to do, the five of us, with all the sports schedules and moving parts and running all over heck and back. Every night we try to sit down as a family and watch at least one something holiday related together.
All right. So with that in mind, right, you're going to blindly rank a top 5 holiday movie list that I'm going to give you, right? So you're not going to know what comes next. You just have to place them in order of how you think they're going to go, okay?
Oh, so you're creating this list.
You will hear 5 movies and
Okay.
they're your top 5, okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's start out Elf,
3.
Die Hard,
You're counting Die Hard as a Christmas movie?
we're going to go with what the internets like to say is a Christmas movie.
I think you've been on the dark web. Um, Die Hard. Yeah, okay, yeah. There was a Christmas party at the Towers. Bruce Willis dropping the hammer. Sure. We'll go with that as a holiday movie. Big Die Hard fan, so I guess I'm gonna have to go 2, even though I feel a little dirty about it.
Is it in the Allison family circuit of watching holiday movies, or does it not make that cycle?
Well, now that you make me think about it, it's gonna have to come up for argument.
It's
Like,
tonight's movie. I like it.
yeah, you start running out of after you've watched everything 25 times over. Um, it's been added to the list. We'll go with 2.
All right. Love Actually.
Did you just say Love Actually?
Love Actually.
5.
Gonna go with 5 on that one. All
I guess
right.
that's I'm assuming that's a rom com.
It, if you've ever seen it, you've seen this movie, correct?
I I think I think I maybe watched it for like 1 minute, almost puked in my mouth, and walked out of the room. But
The whole premise is absurd. It's about like somebody's cheating on somebody, and they cheat on somebody, and they cheat on somebody, but somehow involved is a Christmas movie, and my wife makes me watch it too. So that's on there, but that's your number 5, and I understand that, right? I completely agree with that one. All right, Christmas Vacation.
that's a hard 5. Hard 5. All right, what's the next one?
Christmas Vacation.
Duh. 1.
All right. So the final one is Prep and Landing.
How many numbers do I have left?
Well, by default here, it's your number 4 ranked holiday movie.
Only because you've jaded this whole thing in the. You've really painted me in a corner. Prep and Landing is going to have to go into number 4. But I would say at the end of the day, it's in a 12-round heavyweight fight with Christmas Vacation. Prep and Landing is pretty tight.
I'm gonna have to put this on the old Netflix stream or wherever it is, because
You've never seen Prep and Landing?
no, is it up there with Love Actually, or what are we? Is it about like couples cheating on each other, or how does that?
Couples cheating on each other. I
That's
mean,
Love Actually.
I can't think of too many things that would bring in the Christmas spirit, like infidelity. But um, no, it's like 30-minute like cartoon. I'm not even going to ruin it for you. Check it out.
Okay.
If there's people out there that haven't seen Prep and Landing alongside you, you may want to create a watch party. Like,
Okay.
very big deal. Yeah.
Well, don't stop watching this podcast until the end of it. Then go watch it. But I think we got one last thing. We wanted to tease out a little bit of things, and I'll let Rob tease that out a little bit. But it's kind of a stay tuned moment, right?
Absolutely. We prep baseball has some really big things coming down the pipe, event wise, some restructuring of events, some different things that we're putting together. I think it's going to be hugely impactful for sophomores, juniors, even freshmen. We have the rising stars for the eighth graders. We're about at the 11th hour, just kind of tying up some loose ends and making sure that we're ready to go in a couple certain directions. But if you're an Iowa high school baseball player, if you're an above average player that has high aspirations of playing college baseball at the highest level possible, once we break this news, it's going to be a big deal to you, and it's something you're going to really want to drill into. So that's the teaser.
That's good. That's a good teaser. We'll probably have an emergency podcast to talk about it once it's finally released and kind of give all the details. But for now, if you go to prepbaseballreport.com/Iowa on our event calendar, we've got everything in the spring lined up. We've got some preseason IDs. Obviously, the preseason All State is our big one. You got to make sure you request your invite or check your email for that. The Rising Stars 2028s. We could talk about that all day too, but the 2028 class that we haven't mentioned in the rankings, you can get to a Rising Stars event and start your journey through the recruiting side of things.
Yep.
But for now, let's we'll cut this out. We'll go watch Prep and Landing. I'll have some more to talk about. Give you my full review of Prep and Landing during the next show. I've been Parker Hageman. That's Rob Allison. Have a great one.